Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack.
Did you know that some of the most popular cigarette brands from the past no longer exist? Brands like Kent, Viceroy, and Chesterfield were household names for decades. But now, they're just memories. What caused these giants to fall? We're about to uncover the stories behind 15 famous cigarette brands that have vanished from store shelves. Number 1. Kent burst onto the scene in 1952, launched by the Lorillard Tobacco Company. A brand new type of filter found in micronite. This filter was different. It promised a safer and smoother hit. People who smoke were drawn to Kent by the promise of a healthier cigarette. This is where the story gets scary though. What about that groundbreaking micronite filter? It had asbestos in it. Yes, you read that right. Asbestos is a material that is known to be very bad for your health. When this was found out, Kent's reputation went away as fast as a cigarette. Kent became less popular in the US market as people quit smoking and became more health conscious. The company tried to get away from its troubled past by changing the design of the pack and getting rid of the micronite filter. But the damage was already done. As Kent's fame was fading, a different company was about to make a huge difference. Number 2. Pall Mall. Imagine that in 1899, a new brand of cigarettes comes out with bright red boxes that made them stand out. Even though Pall Mall was here, no one knew that this brand would soon change the way people smoke. Pall Mall does something in 1939 that shook the tobacco industry to its core. The first king-size cigarette, which is an impressive 85 mm long, comes out. All of those extra millimeters, even though they might not seem like much, were what changed the game. The name Pall Mall was talked about all night. For both men and women, the longer smokes were appealing, setting a new standard that other brands would later try to match. What made it different was not just the length though. Pall Mall became more popular because it could offer smokers more of the products they wanted. From British American Tobacco to the American Tobacco Company, and finally to R.J. Reynolds. Pall Mall changed hands several times over the years, but the brand kept coming up with new ideas throughout the whole process. It is well known that you can never have too much of a good thing, so in 1966, they even made a 100 mm version. Pall Mall was making its cigarettes longer, and another brand was putting more emphasis on how smooth they were. Number 3. Viceroy. Did you know that a tiny cork tip could be the key to a cigarette's success? Let's light up the story of Viceroy, a brand that became a game changer in the world of tobacco. Back in 1936, Brown and Williamson launched Viceroy, introducing the first cork tip filter cigarette to the market. This wasn't just a fancy add-on, it was a revolution in smoking. The cork tip filter promised a smoother experience, which smokers quickly embraced as a healthier choice. Viceroy hit its stride in the 1970s, cleverly targeting women and couples with its smooth flavor. It positioned itself as less macho than other brands, appealing to a broader audience. For a while, Viceroy was the cool kid on the block, offering quality at a mid-range price. But as the saying goes, all good things must come to an end. The 1980s and 90s brought a wave of health concerns and stricter tobacco regulations. Suddenly, Viceroy's smooth smoking promise wasn't enough to keep it afloat in the changing markets. Number 4. True. Back in 1966, Lorillard Tobacco Company launched True cigarettes, aiming to address growing health concerns. Their pitch? A low-tar, low-nicotine smoke that appealed to health-conscious puffers. True even sported a unique recessed filter to prevent crushing, setting it apart from the pack. The brand's slogan, "Shouldn't your brand be true?" struck a chord with smokers looking for a safer alternative. For a while, True seemed to live up to its name, gaining popularity among those who wanted to keep smoking, but with less guilt. But here's the twist. As more research emerged about smoking's health risks, True's claims started to ring hollow. The FDA's 2010 ban on marketing light and low-tar cigarettes dealt a heavy blow. Suddenly, True's main selling point was off the table. As health concerns snuffed out True's success, another brand was already deeply ingrained in American culture. Number 5. Chesterfield. Chesterfield is a brand that was introduced to the market in 1896. These cigarettes quickly became popular among the coolest people in Hollywood, giving them a rebellious look that many people wanted to have. Let's say that your favorite movie star from the 1950s was holding a cigarette and smoking a Chesterfield. However, Chesterfield's popularity did not come from just how it looked. They were also the first people to do things in the field of marketing. Do you remember the phrase, "blow some my way"? Both men and women were interested in this clever campaign because it made smoking seem like a social activity that everyone could enjoy. During that time, women were still not allowed to smoke in public, so it was a big deal. Chesterfield kept coming up with new ideas over the years. One of the first brands to add an extra layer of wrapping to their cigarettes was this one. Additionally, this wasn't just for looks. It also kept the tobacco fresh and made it taste better. Is this a smart choice? Speaking of smart moves, one cigarette brand took customer loyalty to a whole new level. Number 6, Herbert Tareyton. Launched in 1927 by the American Tobacco Company, Herbert Tareyton cigarettes quickly became known for their distinctive cork tip. But it wasn't just the smooth smoking experience that set them apart. Tareyton created a following so devoted, it became the stuff of advertising legend. Picture this: a smoker with a black eye proudly declaring, "Us Tareyton smokers would rather fight than switch." This iconic slogan captured the essence of brand loyalty in a way that resonated with consumers. It wasn't just about smoking, it was about being part of a tribe, an identity. This fierce loyalty helped Tareyton weather initial challenges in the tobacco industry. But even the most devoted fans couldn't protect the brand from the winds of change. The advertising ban of 1971 hit Tareyton hard, limiting its ability to reach new customers and keep its loyal base fired up. While Tareyton smokers were fighting to keep their brand alive, another cigarette was quietly capturing the essence of cool. Number 7, Bel Air. Launched by Brown and Williamson in 1959, Bel Air cigarettes brought a breath of fresh air to the tobacco market. Not just any smokes, these were mild, filtered menthols that said they would taste smooth and cool. Bel Air became very popular very quickly among smokers who wanted a cooler experience. It wasn't just luck that the brand did well. Bel Air took advantage of the growing popularity of menthol cigarettes by targeting people who liked a milder taste and the way menthol made them feel cool. In 1968, they even made Bel Air 100S, which gave smokers a cool hit that lasted longer. But as people became more worried about their health and changed their tastes, Bel Air's tight grip on the market started to loosen. This brand was once very popular, but by the early 2000s, it was almost impossible to find in stores. Even though Bel Air is no longer around, it left a lasting impression on its fans. I smoked Bel Airs for about 20 years. They were a much better smoke than other menthol brands, said one former smoker. Just as Bel Air's cool factor was melting away, a new player entered the menthol arena. Number 8, Marlboro Menthol. In 2000, Marlboro, the quintessential cowboy cigarette, decided to saddle up for a new adventure. They launched Marlboro Menthol, aiming to capture a slice of the growing menthol market. It was like seeing John Wayne trade his horse for a snowmobile. Unexpected, but intriguing. At first, Marlboro Menthol was a hit. Smokers loved the idea of getting their menthol fix with the familiar Marlboro quality. It was like having your campfire and your breath mints, too. But as the saying goes, all that glitters isn't gold. Or in this case, all that's minty isn't mighty. As health concerns grew and regulations tightened, Marlboro Menthol faced an uphill battle. The European Union even banned menthol cigarettes entirely in 2020, including our cool cowboy friend. It just goes to show that even the strongest brands can struggle when the winds of change start blowing. Number 9, Raleigh. This is where Raleigh cigarettes come in. They were first made by Brown and Williamson Tobacco Company in 1925. This brand quickly became famous for its unique way of advertising. It was named after Sir Walter Raleigh. Raleigh wasn't just selling cigarettes, you could also go shopping with each pack. How did it work? Raleigh cigarette packs came with coupons that smokers could collect and use to get different things. It was kind of like a loyalty program before they were cool. Customers felt like they were getting more out of this new approach, which made Raleigh stand out in a crowded market. Raleigh was the king of coupons for a while. Someone who smoked a lot said they were the first big brand to use them and had them for a long time. But Raleigh's coupon system lost its appeal as smoking habits changed and rules were made stricter. It was hard for the brand to adjust to a new era where old ways of advertising weren't working as well. Raleigh's market share slowly went down as more people switched to low-tar options and premium brands became more popular. While premium brands dominated the market, one company dared to swim against the tide. Number 10. Avalon Brown and Williamson Tobacco Corporation introduced Avalon cigarettes in 1921. These cigarettes weren't trying to impress with flavors or packaging. Avalon had a different scheme, a price tag that made smokers hesitate. Imagine entering a 1920s store and seeing Avalon cigarettes for 10 cents. With other brands charging 15 cents, Avalon was practically giving them away. It was like finding a discount bin in a luxury department store. Avalon targeted budget-conscious smokers who wanted nicotine without breaking the bank. In an image-driven smoking culture, Avalon struggled to establish a strong brand identity. It turns out being cheap wasn't always good. Avalon struggled to adapt to the tobacco market and health concerns. Premium brands with sleek marketing and perceived quality took over. Even budget-conscious smokers looked elsewhere. Number 11, Silva Thins. Silva Thins stood out with their slim, elegant profile. The brand aimed to capture a niche market of smokers looking for a refined touch while still enjoying a rich flavor. Their marketing was all about elegance and style, often featuring stylish black and white ads that showcased a sophisticated lifestyle. Initially, Silva Thins found success among smokers who wanted to set themselves apart from the crowd. The brand's unique approach resonated with the cultural trends of the time, appealing to those who saw smoking as more than just a habit. It was a fashion statement. But as health concerns about smoking grew, even niche products like Silva Thins weren't immune to change. Regulatory pressures increased and consumer attitudes towards smoking began to shift. Despite its initial popularity, Silva Thins eventually faced challenges that led to its discontinuation. Number 12. Pride. Introduced in India in 2009, Pride cigarettes had a unique vision. They weren't just selling smokes, they were offering an identity. The brand's marketing strategy focused on creating a community around their product, appealing to smokers who wanted to feel part of something bigger. Pride's approach was bold, but the market proved challenging. As health awareness grew and social attitudes towards smoking shifted, the brand struggled to maintain its image. The very idea of taking pride in smoking became increasingly controversial. Despite its efforts to ignite a sense of loyalty among smokers, Pride couldn't sustain its presence in the market. The brand faced the harsh reality of an industry under fire from health regulations and changing consumer preferences. Pride's struggle highlights the difficulties of maintaining brand loyalty in a declining market. As Pride faded into obscurity, another brand was busy climbing to the top. Number 13. Winston R.J. Reynolds was the first to make Winston cigarettes in 1954. Winston, named after Winston-Salem, North Carolina, advertised, "Winston tastes good like a cigarette should." Winston's 7 words made him a cigarette industry leader. Winston was the best-selling U.S. cigarette brand through 1966. It was there for over a decade. How did they succeed? Winston didn't care about lifestyle or image like other brands. Instead, they prioritized taste. This simple approach appealed to smokers who valued taste over marketing. Winston's fame went beyond taste. The brand sponsored the NASCAR Winston Cup Series from 1971 to 2003, becoming part of American culture. Winston became an all-American cigarette through this partnership. Number 14. Salem NASCAR tracks and springtime walks were new ways for cigarette companies to promote smoking. But what if every cigarette puff felt like walking through a garden? Salem began in 1956 with that goal. Salem wasn't just another cigarette, it was a welcome tobacco industry change. Salem was one of the first filter-tip menthol cigarettes. Smokers were promised a cool, refreshing drag. "Take a puff, it's springtime," their slogan summed up Salem's appeal. The brand's marketing focused on nature and freshness. Salem's cigarette ads featured lush green landscapes and clear blue skies to emphasize that smoking was like breathing in a cool spring breeze. People who wanted a smoother, more enjoyable smoke liked this approach. Salem became a top menthol brand after becoming popular. Menthol cigarette health concerns added to Salem's problems. The 1980s Salem Spirit campaign targeted younger smokers to modernize the company. Rules and taste changed, making it difficult. And finally, number 15, Barclay. In the late 1900s, Barclay cigarettes promised a unique smoking experience. Barclay claimed their filters produced even less tar than other light cigarettes. It was risky in a market where health-conscious smokers desperately sought a safer alternative. Barkley initially seemed to change everything. Smokers were drawn to the brand because they promised a light cigarette that was almost like not smoking. Here, things got tricky. The clever filter design that made Barkley famous also doomed it. Because smokers could easily damage the filter with their fingers and lips, tar levels were often higher than claimed. One customer said, the filters often led to higher tar levels, proving Barkley's marketing lies. This controversy and the growing awareness of smoking's dangers got Barkley in trouble. Despite its early success, the brand couldn't avoid changing health regulations. In 2006, Barkley cigarettes vanished, ending another promising tobacco company. So there you go. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and watch out for our next one.